Welcome to another episode of the Fit Dad Club podcast here with Travis Jones and Jason Barrett. Jace, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling fresh in white, as we both are today, actually.
Yeah, man.
Accidentally twinning. White t-shirt. Who would have thought?
No, that's what you do these days. You buy shirts for $2 from Big W. That's what I do anyway, because that's what I do.
This one's Calvin Klein. It was a gift, though, so yeah. Fancy boy.
Fancy, you're fancy. I'm just not fancy. Today, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk about some frequently asked questions from our coaching clients when they first sort of come on board or as they're going through the program that they ask. And if they're getting asked from some of our clients coming on board, they're probably going through your mind as well. So we want to overcome some of them over the next period of time on this podcast today. But don't forget, you can also ask us questions for us to do podcasts on. So hit us up on YouTube or podcast on the Facebook group or wherever you want to find us. Ask some questions and we'll do some research and make sure we do a great podcast for you. Today we're going to talk about meal timing, calorie cycling, energy management, some gratitude, essentially, like people just feeling like a little bit negative headspace. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is winter. It does happen sometimes. And also following random advice on the internet and just finding the time to train. So that's what we're going to sort of cover today, guys. It's a lot. But strap in, okay? Actually click your seatbelt in. I don't care if you're in a car or if you're at home, put a seatbelt on. It's safety when you're getting lots of information. We're going to start off with, guys.
Yeah, a lot of mental whiplash.
Exactly. Get your airbag sorted. We're going to talk first off about meal timing. And meal timing comes across a lot. Now, one is like meal timing as far as optimal protein synthesis to gain lean muscle mass. That's one side of things. But then there's the whole other side of things as far as meal timing. So you don't get home and eat 7 tubs of like Doritos or 7 packets of Doritos and a tub of Ben & Jerry's because you just screwed up your meal timing all day. So you come home hungry and angry and you're hangry around the house and you just don't follow your diet. So, Jace, give me your thoughts, meal timing. What you got for me?
Well, I mean, from a optimization standpoint, it's something that I'm looking at a lot at the moment because my goal is to gain lean mass. And when I'm in such a minor calorie deficit, I'm not trying to gain too much body fat at the moment. So my goal is to minimize that. So that means I want to optimize as much as I can, which means for me, roughly 4 meals a day, roughly 3 to 4 hours apart with roughly 30 to 40 grams of protein in them. Like that, to be honest, for majority, 99% of people, that's enough. That's the structure that if you want to optimize muscle protein synthesis, roughly 3 to 4 hours apart, roughly 30 to 40 grams of protein, 3 to 4 meals a day. That's roughly it. Ideally 4. That's what I focus on. And I recommend, hey, look, if you enjoy that style or if you have the capacity to do that, awesome. But there are a lot of guys that are busy and there are a lot of guys that are at work that are doing shit that are, on site. They don't have the ability to pack 4 different meals with them as they go. And, I've got my 4 different Tupperware containers with me with meal number 1, meal number 2, meal number 3. Like it's a bit over the top. For some people, their schedule works better having I spoke to a client yesterday who has, his doctor prescribed him 1 meal a day because he had some pancreatitis. So it's like less food going through basically, but he's like, I'm really enjoying it. I really like it. Is that bad? I was like, no, absolutely no issue with it. Like whether you want to do 3 to 4 meals a day, especially during fat loss, or whether you want to do 1 meal a day, like the best meal timing and meal frequency is going to come from what you can stick to best, what suits your lifestyle. There was a long period of time there, especially when I'm in a deficit, I will go skip breakfast, right? Do the 16 and 8 intermittent fasting where you eat from 12 to 8 roughly. That's it. And that works really well for me because then I don't have to think about food until lunchtime. I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to get up and get something. I'm just like, cool, all right, I don't need till lunch. And then I can figure out what I want at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then I can eat it then. And it just mentally it works well for me. So I like it. The thing I've been recommending to a lot of clients is because I've had a lot of guys who they'll get home from work. Usually it's like a physically active job. They might get home, especially if it's a trade, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and they'll just fucking snack. And it's, I mean, they don't think it's a binge, but it's basically a binge. It's a snack binge where you're just walking up and down. Oh, I'm a bit hungry, but dinner's going to be in like 3 hours. So it's like, I don't really want to have like a full meal. So I'm just going to walk around. As Trav said, have a fucking little mini packet of Doritos, the ones we put in the kids' lunch boxes every now and then, or got some ice cream, just grab a tub and have a couple of spoonfuls and then it's gone. That is where meal timing is really important from a knowing yourself perspective.
Yes.
And knowing that if I am hungry, there are like, I was chatting to a client even today about this. It's come up a couple of times the last couple of days, is you've got to know that when you are hungry, if you will be the kind of person who would lean towards a binge or would lean towards just, I don't want to escape that hungry feeling. And that's what, guys I was speaking to today, just before the call, was like, I really, really want to, I've tried intermittent fasting and I did it. And then I got really hungry. I ended up binging because I had such a small, because I had nothing and I just binged at lunch. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what fucking happens. Some people it works. For some people, they get so hungry, they want to, we've talked about like toward motivation and away from motivation before. They're away from motivated. They want to get away from the feeling of hunger. So they'll do anything it takes to not feel hungry. And so as a result, they'll just eat whatever, the first thing that's inside. They won't take the time and go, I wish to feel full and I want to feel full of good, nourishing food. So I'm going to make myself something that will fill that void. They're like, oh, fuck, feel hungry, eat food. Like that's the mental thing that goes on. So if you find yourself in a position where you are binging from time to time, or you get hungry and then you end up eating way too much, consider, do I need to involve a bigger meal? Do I need to change the meal timings or the meal frequency of when and what I'm eating in order to prevent that? That's what I've found.
Mate, I completely agree. I think a lot of people, that afternoon snack, if their lunch is too small, it is such a crucial part, right? Because, if you're having lunch and it's like 400 or 500 calories and you have a physical job or not a physical job, I don't really care. And your dinner's not to maybe 6:30 or 7, maybe go and eat after the kids go to sleep and it's at 7:30. Now, if you're not eating and you're at home, so you're not busy, not at work, but you're at home because you've knocked off, you're at home, you do go past, you look in the fridge like 5 or 6 times. Like it's just boredom-based eating. It's like, I'm hungry, but you're not really hungry. You're hungry because mentally you have nothing to do, right? And
you look at the fridge, then you lower your standards again, then you look again, then you lower your standards
and
to eat some raw spaghetti.
Exactly, right? So it's like, and it adds up, right? So it's like a packet of crisps, and then you do grab a tub of yogurt, and you're like, I'm trying to stay. And then your kids are eating their dinner. Oh, I'll just finish their dinner. And like it's added up to like 700, 800, 900 calories really fast without realizing it. Or you try and push past it until you get to like super hungry, and then you hit this like, you black out. It's like you're drunk. You've blacked out. You can't remember everything. You woke up and it's like, you just had a block of chocolate. Yeah, exactly. And you're like,
the dog's licking you. You don't know why.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in saying that, you can go, well, I might try something next week and see if it works. I'm going to try and make this Sunday a 450 calorie pasta bake for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoons. And you sit down when you get home and you literally have a pasta bake for at like 5 o'clock at night. You're like, oh, I'm only eating at like 6:30, but you have that at 5 o'clock. Your dinner might be only having to be 600 calories because of that. And you've had like a 600 calorie lunch. You've had a 400, 500 calorie snack in the afternoon. And then a couple of hours later, you had like a 600 calorie meal as well. You're still hitting your calories if you're doing that intermittent fasting approach, and you've done it fantastically. Or you could shave 100 calories off your dinner and 100 calories off your lunch. And if you are, you got a 200-300 calorie breakfast, you got a 400 calorie lunch, you get a 400 calorie like snack, but we were not even calling it a snack. It's a meal. Right, in the afternoon when you get home, and then you have another meal before you go to sleep, and again you're still hitting your calorie deficit, and you're not hungry anymore. So I think the problem is like everyone thinks that there is a single solution, but there's not a single solution. There's your solution. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you can't follow someone on TikTok who doesn't have the same lifestyle as you and follow their eat what I eat in a day shit, right? It just doesn't work like that. So I think you have to create your own what I eat in a day that works for you. And I think that's the missing link. There is no one size fits all for meal timing. There's what's most optimal for muscle gain. But at the end of the day, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to put a little bit of muscle mass, you want to drop some fat, you want to get really healthy, but you aren't focusing on 2.8 grams of leucine every 4 hours to make sure that your protein synthesis is on point.
Speak
right?
for yourself, bro. It doesn't matter that much. Like
exactly.
It's for most people's goals. But I want to bring up a point around that snacking mentality, because I would say if I cut out my snacks, I would no longer be in a calorie surplus with the amount of snacking. Like I've figured out my way because I've worked from home. It's like you walk past the fridge, there's a little bit of chocolate, yeah, there's a little bit of thing. Oh yeah, grab a fucking Fiber One bar. You know, these are the snacks that I have laying around. But I would say I have like probably four. I would say like two 600-calorie meals, two 500-calorie meals. So we're looking at about 2,200 calories there. And then at least 300 calories to 400 calories a day will come from just fucking grazing random snacks. And I've accepted that about myself, is that I enjoy that part and I'm okay with having smaller meals if it means I have those extra snacks. But I also know that it can have a negative impact on your body's sort of meal and hunger frequencies that it'll bring up, because your body expects what you train it to expect from you. So if you teach it that we don't eat in the morning, it's going to stop trying to give you hunger signals in the morning after about a week or two, because it's like, fuck, I know I'm not getting food. I keep, it's the baby's crying. Where? Oh, mum and dad aren't coming in. I'm just going to go to fucking sleep. I wish it worked that way, but ideally, that's a theory, right? But your body will react to the signals that you give it. So if you're giving it food all the time, number one, it's not really great for your. I'm saying this as someone who's doing it a little bit at the moment. You're not giving your body a break from digestion. You're not giving your blood sugar a break from being spiked. So that's where people tend to get diabetes from, is they'll constantly spike their blood sugar, and their insulin will spike as a result of that. And they're doing it so often and so high that their body essentially becomes resistant to insulin. And that's the issue that, that's what type 2 diabetes is. It's insulin resistance to the nth degree, where they can't clear blood sugar out, and then all the other fucking issues that go on with that. So think about it in the capacity of, what am I training my body to expect from me? And then it's like, you've got to operate to that plan. And then if shit hits the fan and you can't hit your meal timings, you're probably going to be pretty hungry. But it's just knowing, okay, cool. That feeling will pass. Like that acute hunger signal that you'll get, that will go away. Most people will feel really, really hungry, and then they'll try and find something to eat. They're on the way home. And then by the time they get home, they're actually not as hungry as they were, but they still eat as if they were that hungry, because they remember that feeling. Half an hour ago, I felt that real tight hunger pain, but then it went away. But I'm still going to eat like I'm that hungry. But you're not.
But also training will blunt hunger. So maybe you just need to go train.
That's a great idea. Just go to the fucking gym.
Go to the gym. Go to the fucking gym. So with this, so either have a plan. That's step one, literally a plan. Because when we don't have a plan, that's when we default to really shit. We default to the shit decisions, right? So you design the plan. Everything comes back to this design. You design the plan that you follow, because then we meet the expectations that we set on ourselves. If we don't create expectations, then we have no expectations to meet, and we fall off the plan, and we overeat our calories. And it's like, we're just trying to track at a whim. So I think, make a plan, guys, that suits you. And if you're coaching, then talk to your coach about it, and they should help you make a plan that suits you as well. The other thing, as you was just saying that, then Jason, I think one other thing with meal timing is try and have your meals at similar times. Don't go, Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm going to eat at 12, 3 and 9. And then, Tuesday and Thursdays, I'm going to have 8 a.m., 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Because then what you are doing is, it sucks if you're a night shift worker, guys. Again, caveat, night shift worker and day shift, where you've got these schedules that operate on different swings. It's hard. I get it.
Do what you can.
You do what you can, guys. But if you have a consistent schedule, then you should have consistent meal timings. And that even includes the weekend. If you're intermittent fasting, you just don't eat breakfast anymore. Because if not, if you're eating all over the shop at all different timings, then our hunger hormone, essentially, that pulses to tell us we're hungry, is called ghrelin. And if we're eating all over the shop, all different times, it will continue to pulse all over the shop, and you will always think you're hungry, because your body doesn't understand, when should I tell you you're hungry? And it will just tell you all the time. So if you don't eat breakfast for 2 weeks, you'll stop being hungry in the morning, right? It is what it is. Your body just starts to get into the routine. So please get consistent meal timings. Some people, it's because I eat dinner at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night when I get home. Some people are like, I can't wait till then to eat dinner. I'm so hungry. It's because you've always had dinner at 6. If you just start having dinner at 7:30 for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you probably won't get hungry until then, right? You just won't. Or you'll design your meal plan so you don't get hungry around until 7:30 p.m. Everything is just a designing format. So I think that's the biggest thing with meal timing, guys. Calorie cycling came to us in a question of, not specifically like how should I calorie cycle? Like we don't really get questions like that, but we do get questions like how do I fit eating out and the social engagement I come up and still hit my calorie deficit? Where I feel like again, because we talk to our guys a lot of the time about trying to hit your weekly calorie deficit, and I know we've talked a lot about this, and not just trying to go into a social environment where you're trying to white knuckle it, right? Where you're like, I'm not going to have anything at all, and I'm going to stick to my plan. But you sort of
carrot stick and a glass
of
water,
literally, and you sit in the corner.
Yeah.
Like you want to enjoy your life, like life is to be lived, but you also want to have a plan around how you're going to do it. And that means, if you're currently on maybe 1,800 calories a day and you go, well, I've got this social engagement coming up. I'm probably going to have 6 beers, 7 beers there. We know that's going to be like 120 calories a beer. And how do I not blow my week? So again, once you have a plan and you go into it, then the next couple of days, if you hit your plan, you don't completely go off the rails. Because sometimes when people have a social engagement and they blow out without a plan, then they keep blowing out for like the next 2 days, sometimes the next 2 weeks, because they feel like they fell off their diet. They're falling off on a wagon. I don't know why wagons have anything to do with these things, but clearly you're off a wagon, you're on a wagon. So
you should be pulling the wagon.
Exactly. Or push it, push the wagon for some calories. Yeah. So what we need to do is we do need to create a plan. So we go, okay, I'm going to have 6 beers. That's going to be like 750 calories. Let's just call it that. And then I'm trying to still hit 1,800 calories instead of that, or maybe I can still try and hit that. Or for that day, I'm having 1,800 calories a day. So I'm having, what's that, like 12,600 calories a week inside my calorie plan. I think that's about right my quick math. So we can go, well, instead of having 1,800 calories a day, I can go, I'm going to have 1,600 calories a day, Monday through Thursday. So I'm saving calories every day until that Friday. And on that Friday, instead of having 1,800, I saved 200, 200, 200, 200. And all of a sudden, I can go up to 2,600 calories. And I'm not going to gain weight because I'm not going to gain fat, because my weekly calorie deficit is still on point. So you put your 6 beers in there. That was my 700. I can still have my food. I can still have enjoy my social environment. And I'm still going to be in my weekly calorie deficit because it's not a daily calorie deficit. That's not how fat loss works. It's a weekly calorie deficit. We have to stay under or within our budget of calories for the week. And that means we can calorie cycle so we can still have a social environment. And you might have 2 days like that, and you can just bring it down slightly more during your weekdays. It's completely up to you. But again, you can talk to a coach about this, or you can design it yourself and go, okay, well, this is what my week needs to look like. Or the same thing, some of my guys have calorie cycling every week. I just like a little bit more freedom on the weekends. Right. I just like on Friday nights, I like to go out with the missus. On Saturdays, I like just have a bit more freedom. So I don't like to be hungry because they know they snack a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, dude, let's have 2,200 calories or 2,400 calories every Friday, every Saturday. And the other days, we'll just bring it down a touch. We'll bring it down like 100 calories a day, essentially Sunday through Friday or Sunday through Thursday. And that allows you to have those extra calories. Because again, there's so many ways to skin a cat, guys. You don't have, we're skinning cats now. You don't have to have the one size fits all straight calorie approach. It works for some people. Some people need a little bit more freedom. And with a plan, it allows you to create freedom.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It will be that sort of weekday weekend dichotomy where the weekend is going to be a little bit more relaxed, and most people don't have a plan for the weekend at all. So if you know that you're the kind of person that tends to wing it, or it can be spontaneous, it's like give yourself more of that wiggle room. But I mean, I was talking to a client again. It's like if in order for you to gain 500 grams of fat, you'd have to overeat by 3,500 calories, right? And even if you were to do that in one sitting, even though that's like the mathematical, equivalent of half a kilo of fat, it's not all gonna. Your body's gonna, you're gonna be getting the meat sweats. You're gonna be fucking. Your body's gonna be going into overdrive, trying to work out why the fuck you just stuffed it, did that many Big Macs into it. But it's not even gonna all go to it. So it takes for you to set yourself back 500 grams, right? In the scheme of things, it would take you 3,500 calories of overeating, which one weekend is not going to do, right? Unless you've really YOLO'd it. But if you give yourself that extra wiggle room, you can know you're still on track. And above and beyond that, there's the idea of calorie cycling for performance as well, and for like just consistent ways of getting an extra deficit, which is the next point that we want to make too. So When it comes to your calorie cycling for, social situations, you've got that one for the weekend, but then you've also got calorie cycling as a way of increasing your deficit. So increasing your weekly deficit without actually changing every single day. You might go, let's say 5 days of the week, you're eating 1,800 calories. You keep them at 1,800 calories, and then you've got 2 days of the week where you might drop it down to like 1,300. So you're dropping by an extra, an extra 1,000 calories a week, right? So, but instead of it being, and those might be the days that you do something like an intermittent fast, or you do, you just trade one meal out for a protein shake, right? Maybe it's your lunchtime meal. So you have breakfast, you have a protein shake at lunch, and then you have dinner, and then that's your 1,300 calories for the day. That will still increase, as Trav was saying, it'll increase your overall weekly deficit to the point where you'll still continue to lose weight. But most of your days haven't really changed from a daily like meal plan calorie structure perspective, which is, for some people mentally, they could be like, you know what, I can just fucking tough it out for a day or two. And some people, you might even do a whole day fast, right? In the middle there, cut out 1,800 calories completely, or just do dinner. We've talked about doing that before. Those are all different ways of calorie cycling. There are some people that will do it for, I was talking to a client about doing it for performance because he's on two low days a week, and then he's got 5 higher days. And he's like, oh, should I not train on the low days because of my energy? And I was like, well, it really depends, because you could use one of those high days as almost like a fueling day and then train on the low day. Training on the low day may curb your appetite and curb your hunger as well. So there's so many different considerations about how you could use calorie cycling, but that's the method of using it to increase your deficit, to increase your progress, as opposed to just from a social or like lifestyle perspective.
And again, guys, this is all different tools, right? In your tool belt to transform your life. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So what we're trying to do is trying to give you other tools that you can deploy when needed to make sure you can still meet your calorie deficit or increase your calorie deficit to break through a plateau. Now, the next thing is energy management. They're like, oh, like some of my guys will tell me, oh, I'm tired. And I think, I think
you're a parent. Come on.
You're a parent. But I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing to make you not tired? That's the first question I normally ask. It's like, what are you doing to make you not tired? But also, I think like tired's a bit of a state of mind. I think sometimes if we constantly tell ourselves we're tired, like how many times have you looked at your partner, it's like, oh, I'm so tired. And all of a sudden you start talking yourself into being tired, right? It's like me and Liv had a running joke when the boys were young, especially Finn. It's like we weren't allowed to say I'm tired anymore. It's like whenever you felt tired, you had to say I'm awake and feeling great. Right, like it's like we say the exact opposite, right? I love it. I was like, because like, and the same was like, we ban the kids saying I'm bored, right? It's like you're not bored. You just need to find something to do. Like you just need to find some creativity. It's like, dude, when we were kids, we used to lay on the ground and try and make shapes with clouds. Like shit, you don't know what bored is. So don't you dare tell me you're bored. So I think we talk ourselves into being tired sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Being tired sometimes is a legitimate thing, or having lower energy. And that's when it goes into, okay, well, now what are you doing for energy? Do you have a nighttime curfew? No. Create a nighttime curfew. I go to bed at this time. It's like, I'm not a kid. I was like, well, maybe you need to be treated like a kid so you have higher energy.
Like your kids wake up in the morning and bounce around the fucking wall.
Exactly.
Don't you want to be like that?
Exactly. So I was like, maybe create a nighttime curfew. But it's not even creating a nighttime curfew for your bed. You need to create a nighttime curfew for your digital devices. So you have a digital curfew. Like this, like at 8 o'clock, I turn off my laptop and don't look at my phone again. Like you'll be surprised how much better you sleep from like not looking at your phone, like from 8 o'clock onwards, right? And even if you want to go one step further, turn off your TV. But I'm going to stick in the real world right now, and
just say all David Goggins, exactly. Andrew Huberman,
and just going to stretch for 3 hours every night. So like instead, like just at least turn off your devices, okay, from 8 o'clock every night. One, you don't have that blue light going straight into your eyes. It's not suppressing melatonin, so you can get that deep sleep. So, because that's what happens. If we're constantly looking at it, we're not going to be able to get to sleep and get into that deep sleep. We want to try and get to sleep before 10 o'clock. It takes the average person about 16 minutes to fall asleep. So, like, you always work back your hours. a great morning starts the night before. And that's why I'm talking about the night before. I want to have a great morning routine. Okay, have a great nighttime routine, and then you'll have a great morning routine. You can't have one without the other. So if I want to wake up at 5, I need to be asleep by 10 at the latest. If I want to wake up 4, okay, I'm up at 9. I'm asleep at 9, right? So you just always work back 7 hours as a minimum. It works for a lot of people. Some people can, like very small percentage of people can deal with a bit less. Some people need a little bit more. But you're a parent, so let's just go for 7.
It's there's actually a bit of I think research has shown recently, as far as training intensity and workout goes, that there's a bit of a nocebo effect with if you're told you are tired and if you think you are tired over and over again, it has an impact on performance. Or it has a mental impact, but your performance actually isn't any worse. I can't remember. I need to go back and look through, but these because I wear a Aura ring, right, which is a heart rate sleep tracking ring. Essentially, the main reason I got it was to track my level of sleep, and it every morning gives me a score for my readiness, how ready I am for the day, and then it gives me an activity target, and it tracks my sleep and tells me how good my sleep was. If it was or wasn't good, I sleep pretty fucking well, even though we're still getting up at least once, maybe twice a night. I still help change the nappies, do all that kind of stuff. Still pretty good. When I see it's like, yeah, you're super ready, you're awesome, good to go, I'll just go, fuck yeah, I am. I'm going to smash shit out of it today. Whenever it gives me a low score, unless it's something I can like physically feel, because there's times where I've woken up and it's like, oh, your readiness is like, okay, you're not doing that good. If I don't feel that, I'm just going to be like, nah, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. Like, so especially with things like this, a lot of people are getting like there's like the Whoop, there's a bunch of other fitness trackers and sleep trackers and stuff like that. It's like, go based off how you if you've got some data to back it up, then follow through with that. But never buy into any of the bullshit of like, oh, you are tired, or you must not have slept really well, or whatever. It's like, you know what? Here's what it is. I'm not feeling good. I don't believe this shit anymore.
Dude, like the Garmin tells me, it's like your body battery, like it goes down through the day, and each night you sleep, it goes back up. And like when I wake up and it's like out of 100, it's like your body battery's like 10 when I wake up in the morning. It's like, I'll show you, Garmin, my body battery. I like try, it's like my away motivation. It's like, I'll show you how much I can do in a day.
Yeah, exactly. My battery is bigger than everyone else's fucking batteries combined.
Yeah, exactly.
10% of a million is huge.
Exactly.
It's the whole idea of energy. It's like, it's not just going to come from sleep, but sleep is a big one that people need to optimize. Like if you're over caffeinating yourself, drinking caffeine anywhere sort of past midday, 1 o'clock, that's going to affect your sleep too. I used to go for walks with my wife, right? We used to go for a walk. We used to go to like the shop sometimes, like mid-morning, after breakfast. And then for some reason, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, we would both start just getting like drop in energy, be like, fuck, maybe we need like a third coffee, honestly. And we just kept forgetting that food is also energy. And I was like, no, I just had a really, because I was like shredding at the time. I was like, I just had a really small, because I'd get real fucking crabby with her when we were, this is like in the early days of the relationship. It wasn't very smart, but we'd go walking around shops and she'd want to go into Kmart or Target. And I'm like, that's a fucking recipe for disaster. I'm in here for at least 90 minutes. I don't recommend it. But I was starting to get real tired and annoyed. I was like, fuck, maybe I need a coffee. I was like, no, I just haven't eaten in like 4 hours. I'm hungry. I hadn't had the hunger signals yet, but my body was lacking energy and needed food. So I was like, okay, remembering that coffee's not energy, food is energy. Coffee just suppresses sleepiness. That's all it does. It doesn't give you energy. It just makes you feel not as tired. But understanding, food is also energy. So if you need more energy, you might need to look at, well, where am I having higher, more calorie dense meals that are digesting maybe slower and giving me a bit more long-term energy, and where do I need quick bursts of energy? And this is why we talk about things like pre and post-workout meals. To give you better energy for your workouts, you need to have a little bit of food in your system, maybe something that has a little bit more simple sugars and simple carbs that are absorbed and processed and digested quickly, as opposed to something big and heavy and slow with a lot of fats in it that's going to take a while to digest. You want quickly available energy to give you, the momentum and the energy and the push to go to the gym, and same thing for the recovery. So just be aware of, well, what is it's a kind of a higher level thing, but what is the composition of my meals at what times? Like I was chatting to a client the other day. He's like, I can't even hit my calorie goal. I was like, why not? He's like, I had egg omelet, like 2 eggs and like 4 egg white omelet in the morning on 2 pieces of toast. He's like, by 2 p.m. I was still fucking full. I was like, eggs and omelets and scrambled eggs and those kind of things are definitely meals that can fill you up for a hell of a long time. So if I ever need like if I'm ever going to the gym in the morning, I never have eggs because I'm just going to feel bloated and full. But if I've got a day where I'm going to be really busy, maybe I'm not going to get anything in till like, midday, 1 o'clock, I'm going to have eggs in the morning because that shit, the fat's going to slow digestion. The protein is going to help you feel full as well. It just takes a while to get through, but it's big enough and bulky enough that it tends to really, really work. So just consider the composition of your meals and when you're having them as well as far as energy, because you might just need some food.
It's very true, dude. I think, it's looking at the day cycle. So if we are, again, we are talking about before, it's like, when am I going to sleep? What's my wind down routine? What was my dinner like? Am I like, you can increase your carbs a little bit at nighttime. It does help you go to sleep. Have I got blue blocker glasses to block out if you want the blue light? It's working our way back down through the day. So like, it's like take a 1,000-foot view on your day and just look over your day. Where is my energy slumps? Okay, well, am I feeling tired inside my workout? Well, again, like, there's nothing, if we wanted like some simple sugars and something to digest, like have a small packet of Skittles. Like, there's nothing wrong with
a little mini pack of Allen's lollies, something like that.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like a small pack of Skittles are literally like 60 calories. And again, come back down again, like you said, like, caffeine after like I have 1 o'clock as my limit, like 1 p.m. Caffeine has a half-life of, I think, about 8 hours, or 6 to 8 hours. So it's still in your system, 6 to 8 p.m. at night, half of it. So if we're having like 200 milligrams of caffeine, you still have that 100 milligrams in there 6 to 8 hours later. So you can definitely be over caffeinated, and then you're tired and wide at nighttime and you can't get to sleep properly. Do I have that energy slump in the afternoon? And one, it could be like, well, what was my lunch like? Or can I go for a little walk? Because motion will create emotion. Okay, so I always get tired about 3 o'clock. Well, okay, well, maybe you need to have a better lunch. Okay, if the carbs are making you tired, well, have a lighter lunch. If they aren't, let's like modify it for you. That's fine. And it's like 2 o'clock, set an alarm. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. And I can't do that. Yes, you can, right? It will make you more productive. If it's going to make you more productive, set an alarm and do it. And then you're more alert at your job. And that's something you can do. So it's like looking at your day across an equilibrium. It's like, when do I slump? Okay. If you're always slumping first thing in the morning and you can't get out of bed and you keep pressing snooze, it's something that's happening during your sleep or the night before. Okay. Or you're just really overweight and have a lack of energy because your body is carrying like 30, 40 kilos extra than what it should be, which means you just need to get your shit together and start moving forward, and energy will come as you start to lose that weight. I talk to my guys, anyone who's lost the weight and like, oh, dude, I've got so much energy. I was like, yeah, man, go put a 30 kg weight vest on, wear it for the next 24 hours and tell me how tired you are, because that's what your life was, right?
Things like sleep apnea as well. My stepdad, he had a heart attack, ended up losing a hell of a lot of weight because you basically can't eat fat and salt and all other shit after that. And then as his diet started to unrestrict, he started to put it all back on again, and his sleep issues started again. He started getting sleep apnea again, and now he has the full CPAP machine and everything like that. And it was like, so that losing the weight helps you with your sleep. Like even chronic sleep issues like that, it can help you with, and that is like infinitely improving the quality of your sleep and the just the amount of rest you get back from it. But so many people just don't see it like that.
Man, I think one last thing on this, again, look at the slumps, do something about half hour before that slump normally happens. Okay. So it's like, I normally have a slump at 2 o'clock. Well, don't do something at 2. Like, start doing something at 1:30 so you don't achieve that, have that slump at 2. And I think the biggest thing you just said, Jace, earlier is like, it's not an under-caffeination problem. Like, you aren't under-caffeinated and that's why you're tired. Like, it just isn't the truth. And don't have caffeine within the first hour of waking up. Like, we just shouldn't have it in the first hour. So it's like, push back your caffeine after the first hour of waking up at least. That will also help. So look at where my slump is. Motion, food, at least half hour before that. There's going to be an issue with that. If it's first thing in the morning, there's an issue with sleep and your nighttime routine. And like, have an actual strict curfew. This is the biggest thing I can say to everyone. Like, go to bed at 9:30, go to bed at 9 o'clock, go to bed at 10 o'clock. And they're like, oh, well, I only have time with my partner each night. Yeah, well, you get to sleep with them, right? And you get the rest of your life with them. And if you go into sleep at 9:30 and you only sit with them for half hour at nighttime, well, at least the next day you're the best version of you rather than a really slow, unenergized version of you. It's like it'll be half hour of good time rather than the next 23 and a half hours of feeling like absolute shit. So it's like you create quality time with them for that half an hour rather than just sitting watching TV, not actually with them anyway, because you could have done that by yourself. So like have a strict curfew, and that's what will cause it. And I think it's creating leverage over yourself because it's like, oh, but why am I doing this? Like you need to create leverage, like constant top of mind, conscious awareness. It's like, I want to be the best version of me for my kids. I want to be the best version of me for my wife. I want to be the best version of me for myself. I saw someone comment on that Facebook ad the other day. They're like, it was about, do it for your kids as well. And they're like, oh, if you're doing it for your kids, you're not going to stick to it. It's like, dude, if clearly this person didn't have kids, you don't have kids, mate.
You do not have kids.
You do not have kids. It's like, it has to be for yourself. It's like, no, dude, like, as soon as you have kids, it's like we said, it's like, mate, you will die for your kids. There was like you see a car coming down the road and your kid is in the road, you will throw your kid off the road and literally die because you will die for your kids. So
these guys are coming to us and a lot of guys listening to this because they've hit that point where they're like, I realize my habits it's bigger than just me, right? Yes, you can do it for yourself, but when you start realizing, holy shit, this is bigger than just myself. Like I can eat fucking KFC and sit on the couch and watch TV if it's just affecting me. Cause then it's like, I'm not impacting anyone else. But when you're passing that shit on to your children, you're like, fuck, this is the life that they're going to be living. It's a wake up call. There's absolutely no way that just focusing on yourself is any more of a motivator, but then realizing your kids is like 10 times that. It's realizing like I'm showing them how to live. What am I showing them?
Dude, because I think like that, right? Like if you're currently listening to this, you're overweight, you're under-energized, you're passing on these exact habits to your kids. Do you, and if you're overweight and you're under-energized right now, like, do you feel confident taking your shirt off at the beach? Do you feel like really good? Do you feel confident in yourself? Do you feel like you're the best version of you? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. And if the answer is like, no, 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 and it's like, well, your kids are very likely to fall into the exact same habits you are because you are teaching them how to live. And if your kids want your kids to feel how you are right now, then keep doing what you're doing. If you want your kids to actually feel fantastic about their body, be energized every single day and achieve everything that's possible for them, then actually start living like that. Stop saying to everyone, oh, I die for my kids. Well, fucking start living for your kids. Like that is the biggest thing. Like start living for your kids and actually treat it like that. And if you remind yourself that, instead of saying like, I die for my kids now, I'll live for my kids, like reframe that. And by living for your kids, you live in the best peak performance version of you so you can show up. Then that's the leverage you need to actually fix your energy management. Because when we have an energy management problem, we normally have an overconsumption of calorie problem as well. Because, when we feel like shit, we eat like shit, right? This is a circular loop. And then we eat like shit and then we feel like shit. And all of a sudden you wake up and you're like 30 kilos overweight. And you're like, what happened? It's like, well, you felt like shit one day, so you ate like shit. And that was like 10 years ago. And you just kept doing it.
that was 2012.
Yeah, exactly. And then somewhere in there it was COVID. So I was like, so
you felt even shittier. And now I can't go to the gym. You didn't go
exactly.
For the last
You
8
didn't
years.
go. So it's like, there has to be like a hard line in the sand where it's like, I'm not willing to feel like this anymore. And, you go, well, I am going to fix my energy because my energy fixes my issue with over consuming food to try and make myself feel better. Because we eat, when we feel down, we look for comfort-based foods because that's what we do as humans, right? We're like, oh, something make me feel better and more energized. Let's have a fucking Snickers bar, right? Like that's what we reach for. And then in every office place, there's like a box of like chocolates that you can grab. It's like, dude, let's stop it.
Ones,
like,
it's
like fundraiser. I'll give him $100 to take it out of the office so everyone doesn't feel like they have energy slumps. So get it out of here, Julie. So with this, guys, like the slump will cause you to overeat. You must fix the slump and it will fix your calorie issue as well. the next thing is there's a gratitude problem with a lot of guys, right? And they'll come to us, and they're actually a lot of dudes that come to us. They're not outwardly saying they're negative. They're like, I'm a negative person, but they see a lot of issues, right, of why things don't work for them. And normally when we see everything, it's like, this doesn't work for me, this won't work for me. It's like, instead of always looking at everything as an obstacle, everything as a problem, it's like we need to look at things, it's fixed versus growth based mindsets, right? We need to, it's like, I can't change because these are my constraints. Well, if I was having to do something, how would I do it? How would I fit this into my life? Last podcast last week, 15 minutes a day of working out. Like, if you have 15 minutes a day, we can do this. It's like, we need to change our perspective. Like, nothing is a problem. Like, there's nothing, like, there's, like, we've talked about this as well in the past, man. It's like, there's actual problems in the right. It's like kids with cancer, right? Like, it fucking sucks, right? That's an accident, a legitimate problem. Like, you feeling tired is not a fucking problem. Like, even getting sacked from your job, like, it's not a problem. Like, yeah, you might go through a bit of hardship for like a month while you find a new job, right? But you still, like, we live in, people who are listening to this in Australia, like, you still can get money from the government. like you're not having to walk like 33 kilometers for water, right? You're still going to be able to eat on the daily basis. You might have to change what you're eating, right? But the quality of problem, we catastrophize because we want our problems. Again, this is a very Australian thing. We want our problems to be the biggest problems, right? It was a weird thing.
It's
so
like
we start to
tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah,
like, I've got weird. The worst. I've got it worse.
Oh, I'm tired today. Oh, you're tired. Well, I'm tired too. I slept only this much, and my kids woke up 17 times, and my work was 12 hours a day, and then I had to walk. I'm like, oh, okay, well, like we don't have to try and one up someone on the negative, right? And that's what we do, okay? But that's focusing more. We start to look for more negative things in our day so we can one up people. And this is what I'm talking about as far as gratitude and attention. Where we place our attention grows, right? So if you're focused on the negative and you're focused on why things can't work, we'll see more reasons why it can't work. If we're always focused on, and this isn't like toxic positivity, right? But like, if we're focused on things, how it can always work, like, I don't care, I'm going to make this work. If you had that mindset, like, mate, you'll be unstoppable. I don't care, I'm going to find a way. I don't care, I'm going to find a way. It's like, okay, I got to hit my calories. It's like, or you're going from strategy to strategy without a loss of like motivation, right? You just keep moving, knowing that you will find the way to lose the weight and make it work. And we only can do that if we focus our attention on the positive things, and we can do that through gratitude and having perspective. I think so many of us don't sit down and create gratitude because we're constantly like, go, go, go. One, because we wake up after 17 alarm presses and we're just rushing out to work, and then we sit home and medicate ourselves with food and alcohol, and then we watch TV like a zombie and fall asleep and press repeat for like 365 days. So instead, we need to have like, again, like a reset button. Is this how I want my life to be? If the answer is no, okay. How do I design my life? Like, fucking design it. Like complete life redesign, right? In a year's time, what do I want it to look like? Okay, fantastic. And who am I? And what is my weight? How much money do I make, right? And who is that fucking person? Okay, what's their day look like? What's their week look like? What time do they wake up? What do they work out? What food do they eat? How do they see problems? It's like I told one of my boys last night. I was like, dude, you're giving me obstacles, right? And you're allowing yourself to get down. It's like, obstacles make me stronger. Obstacles make us stronger, guys, because all of a sudden you learn how to deal with the obstacle, you overcome it. Now, next time that obstacle comes, it's like, bam, punch it straight down. Like, they make us stronger. They're anti-fragile. We aren't fucking fragile. We're dads, right? We're robust, and we're not even robust. Like, obstacles make us stronger because we deal with them, we learn from them, and if they come again, we overcome them again. So we become anti-fragile. You cannot break us. So if we look at this year person, how do they deal with obstacles? How do they deal with setbacks? How do they wake up in the morning? What's their energy look like? Okay, and it's like, write it out. It's like, and actually spend some time doing this. And if you don't want to do this, Like, guys, you don't actually want to fucking change, right? Like, actually design your day and your life. And then don't go, okay, I'm working towards that. No, start living like that now. Assume the behaviors and you'll achieve the identity. Assume the behaviors and you'll achieve the identity. You don't have to wait until you get abs to feel fantastic and have all the energy. It's just like act as if you have all the energy and you have abs right now. And then one day you'll wake up in a year's time and you'll have the energy and you'll have the abs. And at the start, whilst you're trying to do the behaviors that have the abs and the energy, it might be hard, but that's okay because you're trying to change your life because you drew a line in the sand and you said, I have more to give to this world than just moving through Groundhog Day with, what's that, Punxsutawney Phil, right? Groundhog Day movie. I think it was. Maybe that's before your time, Jace.
A little bit time. I know the concept of the film, but I never watched it.
It's just like every day is the same, day in, day out. What do we do this weekend? We get drunk and we have pizza. Okay, fantastic. How do I deal with my issues? I get blind drunk. I never have time. It's like people are like, I don't have time. It's like, when you get, if you can't do it when you can't do it when you don't have time, do you think there's going to be a time in your life in the future where you're going to be busy again? Yeah, of course. So what, you're going to give up the gym then as well? It's like, no, if you don't have time right now and you find a way to get it done now, when you do have time, it's going to be even easier. The best time to do it is when you don't have time. Because then when you have time, you fit even more in and you feel even better. And if you teach yourself to do it when you don't have time, the periods in your life when you don't have time again to do the training, you'll be able to still do it because you're not going to come up with the same excuses again and again. So create gratitude. Focus on the morning. Focus on the night. Perspective. Your life's not shit. You're just creating poor energy. We talked about that just before. Like, give yourself some fucking perspective, right? I think it's so crucial. We want to move on to the next thing. Is like just following random advice on the internet.
It happens. Look, there's
we're on the internet. You're listening to us right now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not random. It's intentional.
It's not random. It's
not
exactly.
Random. Yeah, exactly. You're only listening to us, aren't you? No, it's
no, like but you're listening to dads.
Yeah,
and that's the crucial difference, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You're listening to dads with the similar constraints that you have, giving you advice on how to navigate the best version of you inside your constraints. You're not listening to old Johnny boy who's 21 years old with no kids and can train for 3 hours a day, and all his money is spent literally on buying protein powders and
low carb meals.
Literally, and he doesn't have a mortgage. They don't have any stresses. They have nothing like that. But it's like, you're listening to us, guys who are just like you, trying to fight the good fight to be the best version of them. And that's where it's not following random advice on the internet. It's following intentional advice on the internet, as Jay said.
Yeah, it's knowing what you're actually trying to achieve. And then, yes, there's new shiny things, and there's nothing wrong with, following people for a couple of meal ideas and, oh yeah, this looks like a really cool way to prep a pizza or do a fucking KFC Zinger burger or whatever, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start looking at things, and I mean, I'm guilty of this myself from back in the day. I went through carb cycling, carb backloading, intermittent fasting, keto, all the different little fads and diets that I never really stuck with long enough to get a result, because it was just, what's the next new shiny thing that promises me a result in a easy, catchy way? But at the same time, it also confuses you because it gives you like, oh, but this person said that. I've seen enough of them, people saying, well, this person says you shouldn't eat protein. This person says you shouldn't eat vegetables. This person says you shouldn't eat fats. It's like, well, fuck, if you listen to all of them, you just be eating nothing, right? And then people are going to be like, well, fasting's bad for you. Oh, fuck, no, what do I do, right? Drink water. Water's poison. Oh, God.
You need the organic water. You need organic water. That's
exactly. You need my alkaline water. Put some drops in it. Not going there, but there are so many different angles, and you've got to consider. This is why we talk about increasing your nutrition IQ. This is why we focus this podcast so much on education, because we want to empower you with the ability to see through bullshit, but also to know, all right, well, yes, intermittent fasting. I saw one thing that said, oh, never worry about what you eat again. Just follow this one weird trick of meal timing. And I was like, and then basically it was intermittent fasting. It's like, with this one weird trick, then people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like, No, it's taking the principle, which is the calorie deficit, and it's applying it in a certain method, which is time restricted feeding or only eating for a couple of meals a day. So he's like, yeah, if you eat one less meal a day, that's one less chance to fuck up for the average person. But it's not that it's magical. It's just that they also told you, and for the meals you do eat protein and vegetables. And hey, it's a magical, no, you changed what you fucking ate, right? You didn't eat nachos and pizza for 2 days in a row.
Dude, have you seen that ad coming through Instagram? It's like, what type of fasting is best for you based on your animal type? Are you a wolf? Are you a lion? I was like,
are you a bear?
One of them, I think it was a bear. I was like, click on the bear. Okay, you have to do 1 meal a day. It's like, why am I a bear? And why has that got to do with me? Well, what if I identify as a lion? Is that 3 meals a day?
You're a bear because I've seen your account on Grindr. You know?
Exactly.
I want to be big and hairy.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, no, it's like, if you're following random advice on the internet, it's going to give you random
advice.
Shit. Yeah, exactly. Random animal advice.
Are you a bear, but are you also a Taurus? And those two intersect.
It's aligning. It's like the blood typing diet. There's guys, if you're trying to find a reason why you haven't lost weight in the past, you're 100% fine. Oh, I haven't lost weight because I haven't tried the bear diet, or I haven't tried the blood typing diet, or I haven't tried the intermittent fasting. It's like, no, dude, you just haven't stuck to a calorie deficit. And that's it. At the end of the day, in a sustainable pattern for a prolonged, consistent period of time. Right? Oh, yeah, I did that deficit thing for 4 days when I did the man shake. It's like, no, you didn't then, because it's 7 days a week. Okay, 16 weeks. Focus, track. You'll lose weight. We talked about this. You'll definitely lose. If you've got 20 kilos to lose, you'll definitely lose 10 kilos in the next 16 weeks in a calorie deficit of about 750 calories a day. All right. And that not eating 750 calories in a deficit of calorie deficit. Yeah, in a deficit of 750. Right. So based on what your calorie maintenance is, minus 750, you'll lose about 10 kilos in 16 weeks, guys. So it is, when you're like, oh, is it that simple? It can't be that simple. If it's that simple, then everyone would have abs. It's that simple, but no one wants to do the simple shit for a long period of time.
That's the same simple, but it's not easy.
No. And that's the biggest thing. Like, growing businesses are simple, but not easy. Losing weight is simple, but not easy. At the end of the day, having a long lasting relationship most of the time is simple, but not easy. So
parenting is simple, but not easy.
Not easy as well.
Days. It's like,
dude.
You change their nappy, you feed them when they cry, you put them to sleep every couple hours. What's the well, it's simple. Yeah, you put it on paper, it's simple, but put it into practice, they're screaming in your ear and you're trying to burp them and then they shit all over you. It's not easy.
Because it's the thing is, it's simple, but then you navigate life in like randomness happens, as Jace always says. So it's trying to make sure you execute on the simple whilst moving through the randomness of life. And that's where the consistency actually matters. So please, I was just going to say,
hard.
Yeah, it is hard, guys. And if you've tried something, you fell off the wagon, it's like, dude, like, kudos for trying. But like, I think the biggest rule we always I tell my guys, I know you tell yours, Jace, we just never miss 2 days in a row, guys. Like, that's our goal. Never miss 2 days in a row. Honestly, today it's a Thursday. Today we're filming this. I'm trying to do 10Ks a day. I'm not going to get it done today, right? Like, I actually was super tired. I had, like, this week, I've been getting about 4 hours sleep a night, and it's not even something that I tell my guys to do. And I said to myself, if I do it, my legs have been consistently heavier and heavier every day. And when you're not even sleeping, like, it doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to ensure I get a good sleep tonight, and I'm going to run 20 kilometers tomorrow. So I never would miss 1 day in a row. And where I can catch up, I do catch up. Okay, so then I look at again, when we talk about calorie deficits earlier in the podcast over the week, I look at my output as far as my running, and I'm like, well, I will do 20Ks tomorrow. I'll put 2 hours aside tomorrow, and I'll get 20Ks done on the track. And it means I'll have fresher legs, going to get good sleep tonight. I'll hydrate well. I sometimes, when life's busy, it's like, I didn't have my electrolytes during the day the last couple of days either. And my running's been 10Ks a day, and my sleeping's been shorter. So I should have been doing the simple stuff. But, for me, it's like, then it's also not beating yourself up. It's like, okay, cool. But we don't miss 2 days in a row. I didn't win today, but that doesn't mean I don't win tomorrow. And then I'll still win 6 days out of 7, and I'll get my total volume in for the week, and I'll still win the week. And that's okay. Because if we win the week, then we win 3 weeks out of 4, we win the month, and it keeps going on, guys. So just keep pushing forward, and don't follow like the random dudes who don't, and you can for some inspiration, but telling you to do stuff that makes you feel like shit. I can't do that. So then all of a sudden, it's giving you the justifications on why you can't lose weight. I can't do this split thing for 5 days. It's like, dude, you can lose weight 15 minutes a day. Like, you don't have to eat chicken and broccoli. You can follow the page and watch Jace make lasagnas and fried rices and all the rest of it.
I should give you the real view of, as I'm making the lasagna, the in between, hearing my daughter screaming and running around and bathing her while the thing is in the oven, and then it almost. I've legit got I did a meal prep of and like egg McMuffin bake. It's been baked. It's done. It finished in the oven 2 hours ago. So after this podcast, I'm going to go film the putting of it together. My wife has already made one, so hopefully it's good. She can tell me if it's good or not. But that's the real life. Like, you get these guys who are like, they're making content full time. They've got full time recorders, people filming them. Like, they've got like all this stuff available to them where they can, I can get up at 5 a.m. and make my special batch of protein pancakes in my kitchen because I don't have kids or a partner or anything like that. I can make all the noise that I want. And then, I've got this particular job that lets me do these things. It's like, there's such an individualness to your plan, your program, that anything that you see online that is prescriptive and is strategic is generally going to be too specific for you. It's going to be too generic, for your specific circumstances. You need to tailor and you take the information and then you apply it in your own life, and you apply it in the way that you need to apply it, which is what we try to do here, is give you the applicable shit. It's like how you can make some changes based on your circumstances.
I think that's the biggest thing, man. Like with our guys who we coach, right? So everyone has different calories. Everyone understands how to hit their calories and their meal plan to hit their calories. Everyone has, are you training at home with body weight to start with? If you need to, that's okay. Are you training with dumbbells and that's all you have? Dumbbells and maybe a bench. Have you got like a home gym setup? What do you have? Let's create a program for that. Are you using a commercial gym? Like, you got a program for that? So it's like, it's not like you don't have to go to a commercial gym and like follow a specific plan. It's like, let's look at the foods you love and find out how we fit some of that into your plan so you actually enjoy the diet, so you don't fall off the diet. And let's find how you're training and let's make the training fit your life so we are actually training. And that's how we move forward, because momentum is how progress and goals are created. It's not like black and white. There's black, you're moving through the gray, and then you can eventually get to the white. So I think like that's what we have to look at, guys. Now, that's the biggest stuff we want to talk about. There was one other question, which is finding time, but we literally talked about that for 60 minutes last week. So, go back to the podcast last week on how we can change your life in 15 minutes, or you can change your life, or we can change your life in 15 minutes a day. Now, guys, if you want a call with us on how to change your life and to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, and essentially figure out a roadmap on how to change your life, go to fit-dad.club. We'll jump on a call with you. We'll create a plan, a blueprint on how you can change your life. And then if you want to do it with us, we can. If you don't, that's fine. But we'll create that blueprint and show you how we're going to do it for your specific circumstances, training, calories, and all the whatnots. So go to fit-dad.club. Leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you want to look at. Leave us a comment. Comments are great. And also on YouTube, like, heckle the hell out of me. Go for it. Like, let's go, guys. Create a YouTube war. Because comments are great. So still do whatever you need to do on YouTube. Jace, you got anything you want to say?
No, just focus on that. Give us anything. If you have any questions, or if the questions today brought up more questions for you, ask them, right? And we'll do our best to break them down in a realistic, manageable way for dads. It's not the sexy stuff that gets the answers. I'm not going to get my tits out unless you ask for it. But in saying that, it's the stuff that actually gets results. So if you're sick of the airy-fairy bullshit and the stuff that doesn't actually work and isn't actually relevant to you, and you need the actual nuanced, real shit that comes down to in life, which is, sometimes you just got to suck it up and move a bit more. That's okay. That's what it's going to take to get results. Either you want it or you don't, then that's what we're here for. So if you want to join the club, then click the link in the description of the podcast or in the description of the YouTube video. Join the free Facebook group, book a call, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Cheers, guys. Talk to you next week.
Peace out.